Welcome to the Depth Dive. We take complex markets, specific topics, and really try to pull out the key insights for you. Today, we're doing a fascinating deep dive, I think, into a really unique real estate spot, Mammoth Lakes, California. We're looking at it as of August 2025, and we're working from a pretty comprehensive market update report here, full of the latest data, the trends. Our mission really is to cut through all those numbers, the charts, and figure out what's actually happening on the ground. What's the real story in this mountain community's housing scene? Think of this as, well, your shortcut to getting up to speed on a market that's seen some pretty significant shifts lately.
Oh, significant shifts is absolutely the right way to put it. The market, it came into 2025 looking fairly balanced, but like this report shows really clearly, things have been changing fast, almost surprisingly fast, especially just in the last few months. So this dive should help us all get a grip on, where Mammoth Lakes has been, where it is right now, and maybe most importantly, what does it all mean for you, whether you're thinking about buying, maybe selling, or even if you're just a homeowner, wondering about your options in this evolving landscape.
Okay, let's unpack this then, because the thing that jumps out immediately, the most dramatic shift, has got to be this surge in inventory, right? I mean, for nearly 3 years, all we heard was low inventory, tight market everywhere.
Yeah.
So what's really going on in Mammoth Lakes? What's driving this sudden flood?
Yeah, that's the key question. And the report suggests it's a mix of things.
Yeah.
We are seeing some new construction finally hitting the market, finishing up. But a really big chunk of this, it seems to be existing homeowners deciding, okay, now is the time.
Okay, so maybe people who held off listing when things were absolutely crazy scarce.
Exactly. They see the market balancing out a bit. Maybe they're thinking about where things might go next, and they figure, right, this is our window.
That makes sense. And the numbers, wow, they really back that up. Condo inventory. It jumped 20% back in April, then another 40% in June. So by August 1st, we're talking 130 active condo listings.
Yeah.
And single-family homes, similar story, maybe even more dramatic, up 57% in May, another 27% in June. That pushed active listings to 29.
It's a real turnaround.
Totally.
And what's really fascinating here, is that this surge, it brings the total inventory right back around Mammoth Lakes' 10-year average. It actually looks a lot like the market conditions we saw just before COVID changed everything.
Okay, so pre-pandemic levels of choice, roughly.
Roughly, yeah. Now, that kind of increase, it often gets slapped with the label buyer's market. But, and this is really crucial, the report urges caution with that broad label, because the reality on the ground, as we'll see, it really varies a lot depending on the price point, the type of property. It's not one single experience.
Right. So we've got this big jump in supply. But here's the twist the report highlights. Pricing seems incredibly stable. It even shows slight increases for both condos and single-family homes compared to 2024. Condos averaging, $803,000 overall? And single-family homes sitting at an average of $1,300,000. How does that work? Stable, even rising prices with so many more homes for sale.
It's a bit of a puzzle, but it seems to be a combination of factors.
Right.
Fundamentally, demand for Mammoth Lakes is still strong. It's a unique place, a resort community that appeal hasn't gone away. Plus, sellers, they've watched prices go up for years. They're generally holding firm on their expectations.
Sure.
But look at days on market, the DOM, how long things sit before selling. That tells kind of a split story. Resale condos, they're actually moving a bit faster than last year.
Faster, even with more listings.
Yeah. But single-family homes, they're taking a bit longer to sell. So prices are holding, but the time it takes that's reacting to the supply just differently depending on the property type.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting then. Because that buyer's market label just doesn't capture it at all, does it?
Yeah.
The key insight from this report seems to be Mammoth Lakes isn't one market. It's segmented, it's fragmented.
Exactly. What looks like one thing on the surface is actually hiding a bunch of different realities depending on where you look. The real action, the opportunities, the challenges, they're in the details.
So let's drill down. Let's start with condos.
Okay, condos. So overall, the report pegs it at about 7 months of inventory. Technically, that pushes it into buyer's market territory. But like you said, the devil's in the details. Activity is still really strong for condos under $1.5 million. Very active. And then, kind of surprisingly, at the super high-end condos over $2 million, there's only about 3 months of inventory. Demand there is actually really high.
Wow. So hot at the bottom, hot at the top. Where's the slowdown then?
It's right in the middle. That mid-range condos priced between $1.5 million and $2 million. Those are the ones the report says are sitting longer. We're talking about 11 months of supply in that specific bracket.
11 months. That's a huge difference compared to the other ends. Why? Any clues in the report about why that specific price range is struggling?
It seems like a mix. Price is definitely part of it. Buyers in that range might be more sensitive to interest rates, maybe. Or maybe they're comparing value and finding slightly more expensive new builds or slightly less expensive resales just more appealing right now.
Okay. And sales volume reflects that.
Yeah, look at the numbers. In all of 2024, 243 condos sold. Through July of this year, 2025, we've seen 124 sales. So the pace is down a bit from last year's total, but still, a decent number of deals happening.
And those median prices for the 2025 sales really showed the split, right?
Yeah.
Resales at $741,000 median
Uh-huh.
versus new construction at a median of $2,173,000. That's almost 3 times the price.
Exactly. It's a massive gap. And that gap definitely shows up in the days on market, too. The average DOM for all condos sold through July was 60 days, which is actually down from 72 days in 2024. Sounds good, right?
Yeah, faster overall.
But break it down. Resales average 62 days. New construction, a staggering 345 days on average.
Whoa. Nearly a full year on the market for some of those new builds.
Yeah, it shows that even at those premium prices, finding the right buyer is taking serious time.
Okay, so that's the condo picture, very segmented. What about single-family homes, SFHs?
Right, SFHs. So that inventory increase we talked about, it pushed this segment out of what was clearly a seller's market into something more balanced. About 6 months of supply overall now.
But again, not uniform, I'm guessing.
Not at all. Just like condos, there's a real sweet spot. Most of the action, the quickest sales, are happening between $1 million and $1.5 million. That price band, it only has about 2 months of inventory. That means strong buyer interest, limited choice. If you're buying there, you're still likely facing competition.
Okay, so under $1.5 million is still pretty hot for houses. What about above that?
Things definitely slow down. Homes price above $1.5 million. You're looking at maybe 7 to 11 months of supply. More choice, less pressure, and then there's a particularly big jump for homes over $3 million. The report shows a whopping 14 months of inventory there.
14 months, so way more selection and less competition for buyers at the very high end of the single-family market.
Definitely. It really highlights how value perception and, frankly, affordability are shaping the pace of sales very differently across price points, even within the single-family category.
Got it. And the sales activity prices, DOM for SFHs.
So sales activity, 58 sales in all of 2024. Through to July 2025, we've seen 36, again, a slightly slower pace year to date. The median price, though, remarkably consistent. It was $1,300,000 for 2024, and it's still $1,300,000 for sales through July 2025. No change there.
Interesting. Price stability again.
Yep. And days on market averaged 68 days through July 2025. That's actually down slightly from 73 days in 2024. But again, that average is hiding some much longer times for those higher priced homes we just discussed.
Okay, let's pull back a bit now. Look at the bigger picture. What external forces, like national trends, are playing into this Mammoth Lake story? It's not happening in isolation.
Absolutely not. And a huge factor, unsurprisingly, is interest rates. As of mid-August 2025, the report puts the average 30-year fixed conforming rate, that's for loans within Fannie Mae Freddie Mac limits, at 6.58%. And for jumbo loans, which are common in Mammoth given the prices, it's a bit higher at 6.69%. The sort of good news is that rates are slowly trending down nationally. The expectation mentioned is maybe settling closer to 6.4% by the end of this year.
Still, even at 6.4 or 6.5%, affordability is a major hurdle for a lot of buyers, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It remains a significant challenge.
The report mentioned buyers finding creative solutions. What does that actually look like on the ground? Are we talking rate buydowns, seller credits?
Exactly, those kinds of things. We're seeing more deals where maybe the seller pays points up front to temporarily lower the buyer's interest rate for the first year or two. That's a rate buydown. Or sellers offering credits towards the buyer's closing costs. It's all about finding ways to make the monthly payment feel more manageable or reducing the cash needed at closing. Buyers and sellers are definitely getting more creative to make deals work.
And the overall price picture. You mentioned stability, even slight increases. The report is clear this isn't a crash, right? More like a correction.
Yes, that's a really important distinction they make. It's not a sudden collapse. It's described much more like a minor correction. Think of it as the market just kind of catching its breath, recalibrating after years of really rapid, maybe unsustainable price growth. It signals resilience, not distress.
Resilience. That's a good word for it.
It is, and tied into that, another external factor that's becoming increasingly tricky, especially in mountain communities like Mammoth, is insurance.
Ah, wildfire risk.
Exactly. Wildfire risk means insurance coverage is getting harder to find and more expensive. Premiums are up, coverage is tightening. This isn't just a cost issue for current homeowners. It's a major hurdle sometimes in transactions.
Mm.
Buyers need to plan for it, do their research early. It adds another layer of complexity.
Definitely something to factor in. Okay, so we've covered a lot. Inventory surge, the split market dynamics, external pressures. Let's bring it all together. What does this actually mean for you, the listener, if you're involved in the Mammoth Lakes market right now?
Right, the practical takeaway. Well, if you're a buyer, this shift is generally good news for you. You simply have more homes to choose from now, especially compared to the last couple of years, and you likely face less frantic competition, particularly if you're looking at higher-priced single-family homes or maybe those mid-range condos that are sitting a bit.
More options, maybe more negotiating room?
Yeah, potentially. Sellers seem more willing to consider offers, maybe discuss terms, than they were a year ago. You have more leverage.
Okay, what about sellers?
For sellers, the message from the report is clear. Realistic pricing and flexibility are crucial now. With more choices out there for buyers, your property really needs to stand out. Pricing it right from the very beginning is key. And being open to those creative solutions we talked about, maybe offering a credit, maybe even considering a rate buy-down, that can make a huge difference in attracting the right offer and getting to the closing table.
So adjust expectations, be strategic.
Precisely. And for current homeowners, even if you're not planning to buy or sell right now, this is a really good time to just reassess your situation. Think about your plans. Maybe you've considered refinancing as rates slowly dip. That might become more attractive. Maybe you're thinking of selling. And understanding current values helps decide if now's the time, or if you wait. Or maybe you just decide to stay put long term. But understanding these market shifts helps you make informed strategic choices about your property.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It seems success in this kind of shifting mammoth market really boils down to strategy and knowing exactly where your property or the property you want fits into this, well, more segmented landscape.
It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all situation anymore, if it ever truly was.
So, quick recap, Mammoth Lakes. Seeing a big surge in inventory, which is shifting the overall market balance. But crucially, that shift isn't uniform. You've got very different dynamics playing out across condos versus houses, and especially across different price points. Pricing, though, has remained surprisingly stable, more of a correction than a crash. So strategic thinking, understanding the nuances, that's paramount right now.
Absolutely. And it just reinforces that idea that market knowledge is most powerful when you don't just have it, but you understand it and can apply it. The headlines might say buyer's market, but the real story, the real opportunities and challenges, they lie in those granular details we discussed, like the strong demand for luxury condos right alongside that glut in the mid-range, or those specific sweet spots for single-family homes. You have to look beyond the label.
Right. So here's a final thought to maybe leave you with. In a market where inventory is finally starting to catch up after years of being so tight, what overlooked value might be hiding just beyond the most obvious price points or property types, especially for those willing to look a little deeper, think strategically, and maybe act when others hesitate, something to mull over until our next deep dive.